I don't know. I got a thing going on with a guy. He bought some stanky whiskey and sent it home with me.
Fun.
And I tried it and it was obnoxious, but then it's kind of sparked a whiskey sharing venture. Now I bought a bunch of these little jars. It's like 4 ounce jars. And so now we just like send stuff home with each other that we haven't had. And so it's kind of cool. It's been fun.
Nice.
I've been missing, I used to drink a lot of bourbon and stuff when I had a social life and zero children. But now I don't drink hardly anything. And it's because I got no one to talk to about my wares. So it's
Yeah,
nice. With him, we do an exchange. We have conversation. It's been, it's not a bad way to feel like I'm enjoying it with other folks. So
that's nice.
cheers to him. Cheers to Brooks.
That's cute. Well, I'm
Yeah, we're
glad you
gay
can
together.
do
So
that.
I
Nice.
mean, don't tell my wife, but she'll figure it out.
Welcome back, everybody. We are Rough Draft Research. You are the audience, and together we are on a quest for Dynasty domination. How's it going over there, Daniel?
Oh man, going good. Going good. I don't have any noteworthy stuff to say. Got a new car, nothing too
Hell yeah.
fancy. It's July. I turned 40 the other day.
Oh, wow.
It's
Happy birthday.
yeah, hey
I forgot
man,
about
it's
that.
official,
Damn, I'm
like
a
like
piece of
a ref
shit.
with a whistle. Wow, man.
My
Honestly,
bad.
I'm taking you off the Christmas card list. You're
Fuck.
done.
I fucked up.
It's
I'm
over
so
for,
sorry.
for you. Please
Uh,
don't apologize to me under any circumstances, especially not this one. But how are you, Christian?
I'm good, man. Going through the process of trying to buy a different house than the one I might have mentioned on the podcast. Not sure if I did or not, but that's going hopefully smooth, early stages. But other than that, just one football season to start. We are in the last month with no NFL football. Obviously, preseason only halfway counts, but hey, it still counts for something. So,
It totally counts.
yeah, draft season is almost upon us. Redraft season, that is. So yeah, getting excited for that, intrigued, and we're gonna continue with our positional breakdown that we've been doing. We did the NFC tight ends last week, and this week we're moving over to the AFC tight ends, and not as much sauce over here
No.
for the AFC in the tight end rooms. That is what I learned doing this exercise.
Yeah, you better hope it's a wet hot dog bun because there's no mustard. It's disgusting. It's regardless. Goodness.
It's not
Oh
great.
gosh.
For that instance, I've got a tier of about six right off the rip that like I don't really want this year, which is that's a large portion of them. So yeah, I
Hmm.
mean we can just crack into it. On that note,
Six, huh?
yeah, I got six. I mean, like obviously as you get higher into this tier, there's guys that like I kind of do maybe want a little. There's one guy that I flirted with putting him in the tier above, but he didn't really fit in terms of what I labeled that tier as. So, well, we'll get into it, but we'll
Yeah.
let's start at
16.
16. This is the tier that like I think you have low floors, and most of them have low ceilings, in my opinion. So just guys I don't really want. So I'll throw out there. I got 16. I've got the Cincinnati Bengals at 16. Like I've been doing this entire time. If it's a room of multiple people, it's tough for me to really get on board. Mike Gesicki and slash Drew Sample are the two guys that you're looking at here potentially. I feel like they have another name that like is at least. Oh yeah, Eric All. I know people still got excited about that, but
Noah
last year,
Font.
yeah, no Fant's
Tanner
gone.
Hudson.
He's in New
Oh,
Orleans.
Woof. Oh my
So
gosh.
that's what I was going to mention. So the top two Bengals tight ends last year, they combined for 83 targets, and they were split essentially down the middle. Mike Gesicki had 42 targets. Noah Fant had 41 targets. So basically the same. Uh, Gesicki was the tight end 39 in points per game, and Fant was the tight end 40. So literally like the exact same production out of them. Noah Fant's gone, which you would be like, oh, cool for Mike Gesicki. But on our lads, Drew Samples, the starter. So like, who
Yeah.
knows? Obviously, they're not the be all end all, but it just shows that like nobody really knows what's going on. In 2024, Mike Gesicki got 83 targets, and he only managed a tight end 13 season with the Bengals. And really, under Joe Burrow, even when he stays healthy, there hasn't been a tight end that's really done much. Like it's kind of he just doesn't. He has those two insane wide receivers, and he just delivers the ball to those two guys, and then like the third wide receiver more than anything, and then Chase Brown. So there's just not a lot of room to me for the tight end here, and with them being split down the middle, it's just not an intriguing spot for me. It's weird to say I don't want a Joe Burrow pass catcher. But when it comes to the tight ends, he's got kind of like an old school Aaron Rodgers syndrome where he just doesn't throw to the tight ends enough to make it worth it.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Listed behind Drew Sample on our lads was like that was comical to me.
Yeah.
Little knee slapper. He also had a 7% target share, which, amongst AFC tight ends that started last year, that's the lowest. So there's no balls going to the tight ends here. And if there were, they still have it split out between like five different guys last year and there's nothing, there's nothing going Gasecki's way for him to
Yeah.
get any improvement off of that. It's yeah, to me this was the this was an easy decision. Yeah, in my tier three, the garbage tier, if you will.
Yeah. Do you
And
have
I
him at
couldn't agree
16 as
more.
well?
I did, yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yep, I
All
was I
right.
was
Well, I'll
ready
let
for it.
you take it away with 15 then.
15. Oh no. Okay, it's me. I'm doing it. I'm ready. 15 for me. This one was kind of tricky, but I just went with Hunter Henry.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, yeah, I know. Hey, you're blown away. I'm blown away. We're blown away. And the big thing with Hunter Henry is that last year he had 7 touchdowns, which I think is kind of outrageous for him in this system, and I don't really think that's reproducible. So obviously that was a wonderful number. He had 17.8% of the team's target share. But there's so much of that that's going to get consumed by Romeo Dobbs and AJ Brown coming to this team. I think it's kind of fluky for him to have that level of usage. I know he's probably got a pretty good rapport with Drake May, but they also have Eli Reardon, a third round draft pick coming in as well. So I just don't, I see him falling off big time as far as the target share, and I just think that the scoring isn't going to hold up coming into this year. It's not really consistent throughout his career, and I think with the other options there, it's probably going to go those ways. Especially AJ Brown is kind of a diva, so I think he's going to just get some of those premium touches that were keeping Hunter Henry alive with that 13th points per game rank from last year. I just think it's going down.
Yeah, I mean, feel you. I
Oh,
don't like a lot of the people in front of like in front of him though, or like or that you
is he in
obviously
your
have in front of
bottom
him.
six?
No, he's not. He's in the
Okay.
next tier up of guys that I think can still produce,
Hmm.
but just like I don't like their ceiling enough to really go after them. It's like three guys that I kind of find to be the same guy. Uh, and so I have him at 9. I just think
Ouch.
I agree with what you're saying. He was tight end 9 last year at 13th in points per game, but he was also and he was the second most targeted Patriot behind Diggs with
Hmm.
87. And I'm with you. That's definitely going to go down. AJ Brown's going to get closer to like 130, 140. And then Dobbs, I think, will hover around that 87 mark. And that's going to like really tear down what Henry can do. But I have a feeling he falls back, but just like back to the tight end 12 to 15 range, like kind of where he's hung around his whole career for the most part. And I think just because of the other weapons with May, but I still see him having like if you are streaming tight ends or if you have a backup for a superstar that you know you're going to start every week, I think you could throw Hunter Henry in and he'd be one of those guys like hopefully he gets a touchdown type deal. But I think he'll have at least more chances than some of these other guys. I just don't like it was more that I didn't like the people behind him less than I liked Henry. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's
Uh,
kind of a log jam after the number 8 spot.
yeah.
So I agree with you that he's in the bottom half. I guess I really just think they're gonna get pretty aggressive with passing the wide receivers here.
I agree, but I think that could lead to maybe not 7 touchdowns, but he could still have 5 or 6, I think, just from like teams kind of selling out to go after Brown and Dobbs and then the May rushing game and their rushing attack. I definitely think he falls off. I just don't think I quite see him falling off as far as you do. So I think he'll still be serviceable, which some of these other guys I just don't see. So yeah, that was my
Okay.
number 9, your 15. My 15, I've
Ooh.
got the Steelers trio there. I don't know if you
Oh my
include
gosh.
Robert Tonyan or not, but Pat Fryermuth has completely fallen off a cliff. He and Jonnu Smith had exactly 54 targets last season, and then they signed Darnell Washington to like a pretty substantial deal, which to me means he's either going to take Fryermuth's spot or Jonnu's spot from last season at the very least. It seemed like a weird contract to me if I'm being straight up. But like I already don't like any of this passing attack. I don't really like what the Steelers have going forward. So to me, none of these guys, I don't think they're going to be that dominant in terms of the target share. And with Rodgers there, I see just very little upside for any of these guys in terms of weekly fantasy value. Especially like I mentioned with the Joe Burrow thing, Rodgers is just like famously outside of a big Robert Tonyan year and Jermichael Finley way back in the day. Like he just doesn't throw to tight ends that much. And so now you got and they bring in his boy Robert Tonyan as well. Not that I think he's going to get a lot of looks, but like I just think it's too muddled of a room. Because I feel like if they were really relying on Washington, then Firemouth would have been gone. But Washington isn't a guy I'm going to get super excited about in terms of fantasy anyway. He's a great asset for the Steelers, so I guess I understand why they paid him. But I just don't want any of these guys. I want him slightly more than Gesicki, but that's about it.
Slightly more than Gesicki. Yeah, I'll give you that. I had him closer to like the 13 range, so it's not too far off. But I like him a little bit more. I do think that Freiermuth's going to have a bounce back this year, put down some more production. But I don't know. I don't know. I can't argue with you. I just have him a little bit higher than that. I like Freiermuth, and I think you're right. Washington isn't necessarily going to get a lot of work. I didn't realize the Tunyon thing, so you're educating me. Thank you for that. But I just think
Gotcha.
Freiermuth has the potential to get a little more active in the red zone and pull in, a little higher target share than he had last year. This is like a weird transition year last year. I think a little more stability is coming his way.
Okay,
But I wouldn't go out of my way to roster him.
that's
So
fair.
put
Okay.
him at the 13th spot.
All right.
Okay.
So that's your 13. I'll go 14 here. I've got Greg Dulcich at 14 with the
Oof.
Dolphins.
This is wild, dude.
I have
Killing me.
Dulcich slightly above the Steelers gang just because I think there's more upside with him. I also just think there's like a crater of a floor. I don't really see. I see some upside because like we know that Willis doesn't have any viable wide receivers as of yet. But somebody should emerge. But then also this offense just might be really terrible. And Malik Willis just might not be able to throw to that many people at all. But in terms of like having their role solidified, Dolchis definitely does. All he has to do is fend off Ben Sims, Will Kakamarak, and Seydou
Third round pick, Will
Terrar.
Kachmarak.
Yeah, I mean third round pick, and then people were high on Ben Sims, so maybe not. And I guess that's where I say there's a creator of a floor because Jolchis has really never been a guy, even though he's got some like juice to his game, he just never really ends up being what we think he even might be. So there is a world where Malik Willis relies on Dolchich as like a safety blanket on offense, but so I might take a late round flyer or or a
What was
waiver
that?
ad on him potentially, but I just don't really see that happening. I see the potential for it, but in terms of what I think is going to happen, I don't think he's going to be much at all.
Yeah, well, it's difficult with Miami because there's a lot of new, right? New coaching staff, new quarterback. But I think Dolchich, who I have at 10 in this exercise, I think he did prove quite a bit last year. He had 33 targets in 10 games, with only three of those games being over 50% snap share. And I thought that was pretty good. He had 7.7 yards after the catch per reception, which was second to Tyler Kraft for tight ends over 25 targets. So I feel like he put in a foundation of work, and they didn't really do anything, as we've documented in numerous ways to threaten anybody's existing receiving work. So I do think he might find himself in the security blanket role for Willis. So that's kind of why I have a little bit higher hopes for him, because the ball's going somewhere. And a tight end's an easy target, especially for it seems like running quarterbacks like their tight ends. So I'm kind of projecting him to do pretty decently as far as
Okay.
like a mid range guy. He's yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
he's
I
right
could,
there at the bottom of my serviceable tier, but I got him
yeah,
higher than 14 for sure.
gotcha. Yeah, I see what you're saying, and maybe that will end up working out. I just, man, I have such little faith in Miami, which sucks because I really want Malik Willis to be serviceable. But I mean, yeah, we'll see what happens. So who do you have at 14 then?
14, I have Evan Ingram.
Okay.
So this one is kind of self-explanatory because he's kind of struggled to do anything the past few years. And I think that he's even one of those guys that's listed behind Adam Troutman on the depth chart.
Oh, is
Am
he?
I crazy? Yep,
That seems crazy.
definitely listed behind Adam Troutman. So, he had a decent target share. Last year, he had 76 targets on a pretty productive offense, but he only had one touchdown, so he's just not really coming through in the fantasy football world. He's what 33rd on points per game ranking for last season, and the target share of 13 was pretty decent. But I look for this team to get a little more exciting with Waddle on the squad and kind of forget the tight end position altogether, given that their running back room has got some pretty hot dual threat guys as far as the receiving backs, um, especially adding Jonah Coleman in the situation. So I'm just not getting excited about Ingram. He's getting older, he's getting less efficient, and I don't think that he's going to be made a priority in this offense. He might just be a little bit of a here you go type move the sticks dude, not someone you can rely on for consistency.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I have him at 13, so just a little bit
Okay.
higher than you. He hasn't been good in 2 seasons, whether that's due to lack of injury or due to injuries or lack of use. Either way, it still hasn't just happened. And I feel like people always want to believe in the Sean Payton tight ends, but that hasn't been the case in a really long time. Um, since
A
being in
long
Denver,
time.
Payton has had the tight end 33, the tight end 49, and the tight end 39. Just miserable stats there. He had like two guys that were okay after Jimmy Graham left, and that was Jared Cook for a year and Ben Watson for a random year, but that's really it. And so, like now, if you want to rely on a 32-year-old hit or miss tight end on a team that doesn't target the tight end very much, be my guest, go for it. But count me out. I'm not with it. So I've got him at 13 just because I do think the offense is better. Well, it's not better than the Bengals offense, but I talked about Burrow not using the Bengals. but the offense is better than these other two guys that I have slightly below him. So like there's just more opportunity, I think, potentially for scoring. But you're right. I don't think it's going to go to Ingram. In fact, Justin Jolly is a guy I like, so maybe he even kind of takes over for him. I don't know about Troutman being ranked in front of him. That seems crazy to me, but yeah. So
Yeah.
I've got Ingram at 13, so just one spot above you. Which Fryermuth was your 13, yeah?
Correct, Mundo.
Okay, so I will jump to 12. Give me the New York Jets at 12.
Yep.
This is mostly just because I think they're going to slow burn Kenyon Sadiq. They're already looking at 2027 for a quarterback. I don't think they're going to like dramatically throw this guy onto the field unless they genuinely feel like he's ready. But Mason Taylor was like solid for them, not great, but okay for them last year. So I think it's going to be like a kind of a two-headed attack, and then maybe Sadiq takes over towards the end of the year or halfway through the year. I do think the Jets get a slight upgrade at quarterback, but nothing crazy. I think we both think that he'll be at least serviceable. But again, not knowing when Sadiq is really going to be the guy. I just think they're going to share the field quite early. And I also don't think the upgrade at QB is going to be so high that he'll be able to feed multiple players at the tight end position week to week basis. I do think Sadiq specifically has really strong upside, but I think it's going to be an up and down ride for you in his rookie season until they get that quarterback position solidified and then they're like full go in 2027.
Yeah, I agree with that. How sad is it that Geno Smith is considered an upgrade to Justin Fields, you know?
Yeah, it is a sad, sad day.
Fucking Justin Fields, dude.
Sucks.
Justin Fields. But I mean, yeah, Mason Taylor led this team in targets last year.
Mhm.
65. Ooh, ooh boy. Oh, scary stuff. But I'm with you, Sadiq. He's going to obviously be a big deal. I think they're probably going to end up activating him pretty quick, given the draft capital. People get real serious about not looking silly. So they kind of pour the gas on the old first rounders. So I think that's going to be cool. This is kind of, I have them at 11, the
Okay.
Jets. And I was like, this is kind of where you can start taking tight ends seriously.
Hmm.
Because there's a chance that Sadiq just, gets part of the game plan, right out the gate and grows throughout the year and is electric. He's got that in his game and his play style. It's just a matter of what they can do. Frank Reich as the OC, it's going to be poetic and beautiful, and I'm really excited about it. So 11, 12, 12, 11. I agree with you. And I'll roll into my number 12 guy. Am I going to catch a lot of heat from you
Uh,
on this one?
I'm not sure. Number 12, let's hear it.
Oh my gosh, I'm scared. I'm scared. You're scared. I got Gunnar Helm here.
Okay.
Okay.
I
All
got him at
right.
11.
Okay. All right. So, hey, that's all right. For this one, I just, he had some pop games a little bit down the stretch last year, but it wasn't anything overly impressive.
Hmm.
And I get a little worried because there's a lot of new here, that's kind of
Yeah.
the theme of these bottom guys. So you got Cornell Tate and then Wandell Robinson, and piggybacking on the Wandell ad with Brian Dable coming in as the OC. You've got Daniel Bellinger coming in as well to join the squad. So that's kind of a connection there
Yeah.
from a previous, OC that doesn't really bother me, but it does give you something to consider. But obviously, it's kind of wide open. You want to see this offense take a step in the right direction with Cam Ward in his second year, but I just don't see it as being the tight end necessarily that's going to be elevated by that transition. I think there will be some improvement, but he wasn't really lights out last year. He was kind of just getting started, getting serviceable, and a little bit of a surprise there that he had the relevance that he did in some of those stretches. So I think he's serviceable. Like I said, I got him at number 12. I'm not too excited. This is kind of the end of the forgettables, and we start to get into some names that could actually hit your starting lineup after this. But that's where I got Gunner.
Yeah, I mean, so Gunner was the guy I was toying with putting in the tier above, so he's right at my tier break. Just because he
Yep.
didn't really fit the class of like guys I know for a fact will be serviceable, just maybe
Right.
don't have great ceiling. I kind of think Gunnar Helm's a sneaky sleeper this year. He's a guy who later in the year with Cam Ward got 10, 8, and 9 targets in games. And then obviously like he was fourth in the team on in targets, but started really late compared to the rest of those guys. He was only behind Chig, Iomanner, and DK, and they got rid of Chig. And so
Yep.
now I think he comes in like I understand Bellinger, but Bellinger's just a guy. And Helm showed enough and was already with Cam Ward. Like, I don't understand why you would really drive away from that unless you just really don't like the kid. I don't think it's like crazy high ceiling for Gunnar Helm, but I do think he does potentially have a connection with Ward and kind of, again, like I talked about down there with, or up there with Hunter Henry, like the guys that are around him can kind of maybe help the targets be a little better. Just because now you've got Carnell Tate to worry about, you've got Wandale Robinson to worry about. I think Ward's going to have a better season overall, and I could just see Helm producing a little bit more. Nothing earth-shattering. I don't think that's ever going to be his thing, but I could see him sneaking up into the tier of the three guys above him that I consider like low floor, middling season ceiling type guys by the end of the year. Like it wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me if it went the other way, which is why I couldn't put him in that tier. But I think I just have a little bit more faith in him. I liked what I saw out of him. And yeah, I mean, like he kind of developed a relationship with Cam Ward that none of these other guys can say that they have. And so I don't know. I think there's some juice here. I don't know how much juice. I don't know how much you're going to get out of it, but I think it's enough for me to think he's like a sleeper late round guy.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give you that. Yep, I'm kind of in the same opinion with you.
Okay.
So
Uh,
then I think, yeah,
yep.
I've given 10. Is it you're up on 10?
I think I should be because your 11 was the Jets,
Mason
right?
Taylor, yeah, or
And
well, yeah,
then
it's Sadiq. Yep.
your 10 was
Dolchich.
Dolchich. Okay.
Dolchich.
So my 10, and if you've listened to this podcast at all, you know I've never been a fan
There we
of this
go.
guy. Um, it's Dalton Kincaid. I've got him at 10. He starts the tier of guys that I think have a decent floor, but not a very high ceiling. I've never been a fan of him really. It saved me personally a lot of heartache not getting in on this guy because he's been the tight end 20, the tight end 30, and the tight end 11. And some of that's because of injuries, some of that's because of not use. And I just don't see anything with the Bills that I expect much different from him. I mean, he had the exact same number of targets as Dawson Knox last year. I know Knox played a whole season. Dalton Kincaid didn't, so that he it will end up with more targets if they both play. But he's been hurt for two straight seasons. So like why are we thinking that he'll just all of a sudden definitely be healthy? I mean, he could obviously hope he is because I don't want to see anybody get hurt. But like I just don't see it. And then they bring in DJ Moore to kind of solidify the passing game. So when you look at a team that's got James Cook and Josh Allen on the ground, and Josh Allen throwing to whoever he wants whenever he wants, they got DJ Moore, they got Khalil Shakir, they got Keon Coleman, who I assume maybe they want to try and work. My guy Skylar Bell, and then two tight ends. Like that's just too many mouths to feed for me to really want to rely on Dalton Cade. I'm sure that now this will be the year that he takes off because I'm taking such a hard stance on him, but I'm willing to miss that ride. So I've got him at 10th. I do have him in the second tier where it's like guys that I think are serviceable, but I just don't see much more than that.
Yeah, I've got him second tier, right at 9.
Okay.
So we're pretty lockstep on that. I mean, the biggest dagger in the heart is exact same number of targets as Dawson Knox last year, and
Yeah.
nothing special. And yeah, kind of a stagnant offense last year that looks to overcome that with the addition of DJ Moore, and I don't think. He's not going to have a unique role. He's definitely going to contribute, but I don't think it's it's not going to be the level that all the truthers of his, past are have been cheering for this whole time. So nice try, Mr. Kincaid. You're out of here.
Gotcha. So that was my 10. Your 10 was um, Dolchich, and then my 9 was
Dolchich.
Henry. So we both got our
Okay.
nines out of the way. So who is your 8?
Eight. I got Brenton Strange here.
Okay, fair enough. I got
Uh,
Strange at 7.
okay. Well, throw on your gloves because we're gonna have to settle this dispute. But yeah, I couldn't put him any higher than this, and
Mhm.
and I think maybe I know who you've swapped him with, but it's kind of similar feelings. Not a lot has changed for the Jags offense as far as the depth chart in the receiving room. Really, the whole offense is pretty much the same starters rolling out with the absence of Mr. Travis Etienne. But so he's going to defend that share he had. He had 60 targets last year and was looking pretty good. He missed a good cross section of the season, right in the middle, but he was being targeted heavily. Games between 5 and 8 targets, basically throughout. Just consistently
Mhm.
getting targeted was what you want in a tight end in fantasy. It's great to have a 8 target, 100 yard, 2 score game, but it really sucks when your tight end gooses you, and he didn't
Yeah.
have any um, overly disappointing games for the most part down the stretch. So I like him just as a fantasy asset. I think that's a reliability factor that kind of gets overlooked. They did take Nate Bierkircher,
Yeah.
Bierkircher.
Whatever it is. Yeah.
Yep. In the second round, which
But he's
seems,
a blocker.
yeah, I was going
Like,
to say, like, that's not a threat here in the fantasy world. Definitely a blocker. So, yeah, Trevor Lawrence is loving his Penn State targets, and I think that Brendan Strange is about to benefit from it. But statistically, he didn't really blow me away. I just really like the consistency he had. So that's where he lands for me. Nothing like earth-shattering. I just think he's definitely above the guys that we've gone through so far. Doesn't have competition, has a solid cast, solid coaching, looking to repeat and grow off of a pretty productive year. So,
yeah, so I have him at 7, which is another tier break for me. To me, it's the startable guys with some upside, varying upside between all of them, obviously. I do think I don't know that he's as consistent, or I wouldn't say that he's as consistent as you, because like down the stretch, he had some good games. Weeks 11, 12, 16, and 18, he had 14, 13, 14, and 17, but in between those was like some threes and some sixes and some fives. And then in the playoffs, he had 2 catches for 9 yards. So I think there's chances for him to disappoint. But I also think there is some high upside with him. They obviously paid him, which honestly I don't really get. 12 million a year for him seems
no,
a little crazy, but it's not my money, so fuck it. But I like his upside, especially with T Law potentially having to throw more this season. Like we talked about in weeks past, like with the running game not being solidified. We're relying on some middling runners to show out, which maybe they will, who knows, but Bayshul Tootin type guys. But yeah, so I think he has more upside than the guys in the tier below him. But just I think he's just above them in terms of his consistency. He was kind of right in the same area as them in terms of points per game, a little bit lower than these other guys. So I got him at 7. So the final guy in the startable but low ceiling tier for me is Dalton Schultz. I got him at number 8. Schultz, Kincaid, and Henry all finished with the same exact points per game at 10 and a half. The reason I have Schultz higher than both those two guys, well, there's a couple. Um, he's younger. Those other two guys are, well, I guess not than Kincaid. They're around the same age. Sorry, that's not the truth at all. Hang on. That's what I wanted to say about Brenton Strange. My bad. Brenton Strange is younger. chance for growth there. Dalton Schultz, I have above Kincaid and Henry, as I just think the chances that he falls off are a little lower, but I don't think his ceiling's very high. He's been fairly consistent throughout his career. He's been 10th, 11th, and 11th in 3 of the last 4 years. He had kind of a bad year 2 years ago. But to me, that's what his ceiling is. Like, he's not going to be much higher than that. He's going to be just a guy. But I think the Texans' offense will be better. On paper, they've improved that offensive line. I think CJ Stroud can take a step forward. And like I do think the Patriots and uh Bills offense will be better as well, but I don't think it'll be their tight end room that helps that. I think it'll be definitely the wide receiver room, which the wide receiver room will be the driving engine of the Texans as well. But I just think there's a chance for Schultz to be more consistent than the other two guys. Not having new weapons around. They're all kind of established going forward. So obviously I think he's like third fiddle to Collins, a healthy Tank Dell, and Jaden Higgins. But or fourth fiddle, I guess that would make him. But I just think there's enough there that I still like him slightly better than those other two guys, but less than Brenton Strange.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think it's strange. I like the consistency of targets, but I mean Schultz is kind of miles ahead of him as far as that goes. He got to the triple digit targets last year, 106. Really healthy, target count for a tight end, and he did have a full season, which some of the guys we've been talking about so far have missed stretches last year, but. I don't know, man. For me, I've got him, way ahead of where you got him. I got him at 7, instead of 8. So
Yeah.
basically flipped the last two guys.
Yeah.
But I think that the Texans know how to rely on him. It's
Hmm.
been, they got him off of Dallas and they've hit him with 88 targets, 85 targets, 106. So the thought is if Higgins doesn't take the leap, which, is still kind of unknown, that Schultz can benefit from that. He can slot right in and fill the same role that he's had in the past, and a little more end zone action for him can take him up into a higher conversation. He was a tight end 10 last year. So I just think he has the potential to be the benefactor if we either have a Tank Dell delay or a Higgins progression delay. And then, we got David Montgomery coming in. Is he going to be a pass catcher at all? Is that, something that was just taken away by Gibbs, or is this something they're going to be competing for as far as tight end versus running back targets? We've seen that
Well,
conflict in the past.
on that note, everything I'm seeing online is that Woody Marks is starting to learn
Still.
passing routes to be the pass catching guy.
Well, that
It's
fights against Schultz big time. I saw Marks on there, but it's good to know that he's still learning, still educating himself.
Yeah, so we'll see however that goes. But yeah, to me, I would not be surprised if Schultz does finish lower than Strange or higher than Strange.
Yeah.
Uh, but I just think Strange has higher upside, which is why I rank him slightly ahead. That's my only thing. I don't really see Schultz being much more than the tight end 10. I mean, he really has never showed that he could be that guy.
No.
And at least Strange has like potential. But I think these two are essentially interchangeable. I almost made this a tier by themselves, but just got a little more upside to me in Strange. But fair enough. So who do you have at 6?
Oh, I've got Rondé Gadsden.
Okay, I got him at 5.
Okay. All right. So we're done, we had some discrepancy at the bottom, but we're getting tighter
Yeah.
as we go to the top. And I know that you love you some Gadsden, but so I'll give you plenty of opportunity to slot in because he had an amazing rookie year, some big numbers, yards per catch, 13 and a half. Pretty hot. Yards before the catch, 8.8. I think that's the second highest among tight ends outside of Terrence Ferguson. So he's being used downfield and given some premium targets and a pretty aggressive role for a rookie tight end, in my opinion. I think that this is going to be kind of a running back year for these guys.
Yeah,
Um, a little bit of meat on the bone, a lot of targets could be up for grabs for him. And I don't know if he continues off of what he did last year. I don't see any chance of him dipping. You know, he did miss a little bit of time there. Didn't play in the first part of the year and kind of took a while to heat up. But if he carries on where he left off, it's going to be pretty incredible. Keenan Allen's like a big missing part of this team. And the way that he was trusted and utilized, I think that that workload just goes up
yeah.
and the fantasy, everything goes up with it. So,
Yeah, so obviously people I think are scared with Njoku coming over. They also brought
yeah,
over
sure.
Charlie Kohler, but Charlie
Hmm.
Kohler's definitely a blocker. He's not a pass catching tight end. So Gatson fell off super hard to end the year, which I think also has people scared away. He finished the season 20th in points per game after a 4 week stretch where he was awesome, week 6 to 9. But
Right.
I'm with you. I see the upside yet. He's not much of a blocker, so I think that's why they brought in obviously Charlie Kohler, and then they bring in Njoku as like the third guy or the second pass catcher, but maybe even to help Gadsden along in his development. But if you look up Rondé Gadsden, every article is about, well, this is their secret weapon. Oh, he's gonna break out, da 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 da, which sometimes bites you in the ass. But I just believe it. I love Aronde Gadsden. I think that he has a chance to be something special. I love him in the Mike McDaniel scheme. His breakout might be a little stunted by them kind of reinventing the entire tight end room, but I think his upside is incredible, which is why I have them at 5. He's still in the tier of guys that I think will be startable, but have like tremendous upside to move up forward. Finishing the tight end 15 overall while barely playing any early and being a fifth round pick is pretty impressive to me. And I just think I the sky's the limit for this kid.
Heyo.
So I got him at 5, just slightly ahead of you. So at 6, I've got Mark Andrews at
Okay.
6. Um, this is tough because I feel like the Ravens were just all out of sorts last season. Missed time, and he clearly wasn't himself the entire year. Andrews didn't get hurt, but saw significant drops in production. Despite that, the Ravens signed him to an extension and let both Charlie Kohler and Isaiah Likely walk. Seems odd to me for a guy that's 31 gonna go into the season, but Mark Andrews has been Lamar Jackson's guy for a really long time, so that might have had something to do with it. So it's like it was last season just a blip on the Andrews radar or a sign of things to come. I'm not sure, to be honest. I don't know what to expect out of him with the new offense and everything. I think they brought in some pass catchers that can kind of take a bit away from Andrews, not in the tight end room, but
Ooh.
like the wide receivers, the bigger body wide receivers they brought in through the draft. I'm just not sure how this is going to work. But I think he still has absolutely premium upside. I just think he has like a lower floor than he has in past seasons. And that's kind of where I'm at with it. Like, I think he could still be amazing, could still be the guy for you. But I just don't think he's as locked and loaded as previous years for me.
I got him at number 4.
Okay. Oh, who do you got at 6?
Gadsden. Yeah.
Oh, well then 5.
Oh, well, I
Well, we'll
guess
find
you,
out. You got him at
yeah.
4. Let's see.
I don't know. Yeah, who knows, dude? I might be losing friends and family over this stuff. But for me, dude, he's been pinned under 70 targets for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Those were the likely years, and likely's out of the equation. But his, obviously, like you're saying, that presence didn't really hold him back last year. But I think the lack of scoring did. It was 5 touchdowns last year, which ties for his worst season since his 3-score rookie year. So I think that, if he can get back into those higher utilizations, closer to 90 to 110 targets and get back into his, the 7+ touchdown zone where he was kind of living for a very long time. I see that as the secret for him to, be good enough. He's only 30, man. I know he's getting older, but for a tight end, 30 seems decently fine. And in the past years before last year, tight end 6 and 24, missed time in 23 was tight end 15, but years before that it was 4, 1, 6, 5. Like hasn't really changed as far as just utilization. It's just the target share. It needs to go up. And last year's is the dip in the red zone usage, which I think can be restored pretty easily. You mentioned new blood, Elijah Surratt. You got Jacoby Lane coming in, and that's great, but it's not overpowering as far as
Yeah.
like injection of competition. So I
Mhm.
think it's Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews, and we're just living on a prayer with the Derrick Henry stuff. So you mentioned it, the connection with Jackson is out of this world. So I think it's his opportunity to have a bounce back, to kind of obviously be the name in the room and take it back for himself. It's been a long time. It's been a full season since that dropped pass in the end zone that lost him that playoff game against Buffalo, I believe. So he's got that fully shook off. He's going to be back in action, and the team needs him. And I think they're going to push on him.
We'll see it. Maybe I've just been burned because I feel like every time I get him in redraft is a year he sucks. So,
Yeah, that's
um,
call that the Hunter Henry.
but yeah, I hear everything you're saying, and I do think he still has that chance to be that guy. But I just personally like the other guys ahead of him that I have ahead of him better. So he's in that high upside tier, startable, starting high upside tier. So five, who you got?
I got Kelsey here at 5.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a dip in usage. Last year was his lowest target season since basically his first year as a full-time starter, and I don't see it going overly aggressive towards making him the number one target on this offense like he was for so many years. I think with Rice in play, they have a number one that they want to go to. Worthy mixes it up, and then Kelsey's going to move the sticks, but I think he's kind of at the end of his career. I think they want a, quality over quantity approach to his usage. I do think that the running back room is going to be really, 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 really nice coming in to 26 with Kenneth Walker, obviously. Has a lot of potential to be a pass catcher. I think Emmett Johnson's going to get deployed heavily in the passing game, and there's Mahomes starting the year slow, so the possibility of Justin Fields out there for a couple of games. I just think that they want to make a big push in the postseason. They just want. I think they're going to kind of take it easy with Kelsey to start the year, and it's something they've kind of done historically. It's kind of give him time to warm up, and then kind of hit his midseason stride and then pull him. I think you're just going to see a little bit of the usage go down and changing of the guard as I assume this is his final season, man. Maybe
Yeah.
somebody else knows something I don't know, but I think that he wants to go out with a bang, and that's going to be late season, postseason. I don't think that they're going to bury him in targets out of the gate. That's just my personal opinion. A little bit of a waning for him.
I guess, but I mean, he finishes the tight end three last year, even with the dip in production, and he was the tight end nine in points per game. So it's not like it was that crazy different. I don't know, man. I think they got one more big year out of him. I expect him to be top seven again for the tight ends. Maybe it is less targets, but more quality. I feel like he's still the guy in the red zone. I feel like the running of the ball is going to help him out. I feel like play action with him can help the Chiefs offense as a whole, being able to run the ball and you actually having to rely or not being able to just bet that you can stop their pass catchers. And Mahomes is trying to make it back week one. I don't know. I hear what you're saying. I got him at four. I don't have
Yeah,
him like much higher, but
sure. Yeah.
I just think he has some tremendous upside still. And I think he'll be a top seven tight end by the end of the year. Even if maybe it is a little later. But let's just applaud such an unbelievable run. Since 2016, Kelsey has finished first, 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 second, first, third, sixth, third. Like that's just absurd levels of production for fantasy. So if he does go out this year, if he does retire, and even if it's a middling year, He's done nothing but win us some people, not me. When I had him going off, I had one of the best teams I've ever had and still couldn't pull off a championship before the belt. But he
Yeah,
helped
now we
a
get to the core.
lot of people win championships. So shout out to him, man. So I'll bounce up to number three.
Okay.
I my number three is Mr. Harold Fannin Jr. I'm bummed that I got scared of him landing with Cleveland and didn't have any shares of him last season when the getting was good. We talked about him all off season, and then I did not pull the trigger like a chump.
Mm.
Fannin led the team in targets. He was the tight end eight in terms of points per game. Had a really, really strong season, and he's going to be heavily featured in this offense. My question and why I didn't put him in any higher is how good is this offense even going to be? The quarterback room is a mess. The Browns brought in some stiff competition at the wide receiver spots. I don't see them moving away from Fanning at all, but he may not lead the team in targets again when you got KC Concepcion and Denzel Boston coming in. Another team that I think is looking forward to 2027 and getting a quarterback for this pretty on paper substantial core that they've built. So I do think Fannin is going to have another great year. He'll be in the top end of the tight end groups for sure. Todd Monken coming over from Baltimore could mean that he's eyeing using that tight end in a similar way, and he brought Travis Switzer over with him to run the offense. So yeah, but to me, a new look at an offense, quarterback questions have me just rank him slightly below the two guys I got ahead of him. Well, slightly
Um,
below two and pretty substantially below one, but
oh, yes, number two. I was like, how do you add two and one and get anyway? I agree. I have him at three. I'm with
yeah.
you.
Yeah.
All the things.
3-3.
Um, yeah, unfortunately, the last 3 years where Mark Andrews was pinned 70 targets or lower were the 3 years Todd Monken was the OC for the
Yeah.
Baltimore Ravens. So hopefully that doesn't translate to the Harold Fanning
Yeah.
impact. But I mean, yeah, I got him at three. You nailed it. He has the potential to be the engine of this offense, but then who's driving the car
Yeah.
and is Concepcion, is Boston, are these guys leaned into? Joy Royer was a guy we liked. So
Yeah.
you get rid of Njoku, but you bring in a pretty spicy rookie to supplement the role. Obviously, not challenge it, but yeah, whether or not this is Harold Fannin able to deliver on what he set himself up as last year, it's going to be tough. I'd like to see it. I just traded for him. Yeah, I got to do what you got to do. But yeah, I like it. He doesn't touch these top two guys, in my opinion. I've got Tyler Warren
Yep.
as number two.
Me too.
Okay, and
So it looks like we have the same top three, which is cool.
that is cool. And we have the same top eight as well.
Uh, not in the
Well,
same order,
I mean,
but
yeah,
yeah.
but yeah, they're pretty close. We have a couple flips, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying. Sorry, I didn't want
No,
to
you're
argue. We
fine.
got off to a kind of a rocky start when we were digging through the trash pile there.
Yeah, we landed
Uh,
the plane though.
but it was kind of anyway, Warren
Yeah.
he had an incredible year last year, kind of unprecedented, made me feel pretty good about some of our hot takes of him
Yeah.
being better than Colston Loveland. It's not too late.
Yeah, for sure.
Let it be, let it be. But he really hit the ground running with 112 targets, pretty incredible. 20% target share.
Yeah.
um so you got Michael Pittman out.
Yeah.
And then I guess the thing for me is he only scored 4 times last year,
Hmm.
which is kind of incredibly low, considering that target share and how much they relied on him. He led the team in targets, more than Pittman. It wasn't necessarily a pass scoring team. It wasn't that hot in that department, and I think that he has the ability to step up and
Yeah.
take on some of the 7 touchdowns more so than the massive target share left behind by Pittman, because we did see the red zone usage the attempts, but if he can, seal the deal on a couple of those and maybe nudge out a little bit of that Jonathan Taylor 18 touchdown on the ground stuff, I think that we could see him, defend his position, finishes the tight end four. I don't know how much growth on that we can expect, but
Yeah.
I definitely expect it to be consistent and secured by more scoring opportunities.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. From weeks 1 to 10, Tyler Warren was the tight end six in points per game, and the tight end two overall. He finishes the season as the tight end four, like you said, tight end 10 in points per game. But that was, the Colts fell off a cliff when Daniel Jones got hurt, and then they couldn't move the ball as much. Warren led the team in targets and especially important red zone targets as well. So yeah, they clearly want to get him involved. Michael Pittman leaving frees up 111 targets, and the Colts didn't bring anybody else to take that, so it's going to be distributed between Pierce, Downs, and Warren, and I think Warren will get a lot of those, and I do think the red zone will be where he kind of works. I think there's a chance that he's susceptible to being like the number one uh defensive like picture, like who they think they need to stop. But I'm with you. I think Warren's in for a big year here, especially if Daniel Jones stays healthy, because he clearly liked to get him involved early and often. So I'm with you. I got him two as well, which leads us to one, and it's Mr. Brock Bowers. Has to be. He was the tight end one in 2024, which was his rookie season on a terrible Raiders team. He was averaging 14.7 points per game despite missing parts of the season and playing through injuries on a worse Raiders team last year. On paper, the Raiders have improved both their offensive line and their quarterback situations. Bowers should be healthy this year. I think it's an uptrend for Bowers. I would not be surprised if he ended up finishing the season as the tight end one with Trey McBride slightly behind him. Flip those two guys if you want. I think that's going to be our one and two tight ends by the end of the year. But I think weirdly Bowers has a better team than McBride now. So I don't know. Arrows up on Brock Bowers. I think he could really be a chess piece for your fantasy roster if you can get him in redraft or if you already have him in Dynasty.
Yeah, I mean, absolute stud. Like you're saying, it's gonna get solidified, even if it's Kirk Cousins, it's gonna be an upgrade.
Yep.
So yeah, no competition. I mean, seriously, what is happening with the wide receiver room here?
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
they lost Stephon Diggs' phone number um, because they need to get that number and get something going, man. Getting back with Kirk would be fun.
That would be fun.
But no, I think you're right. Bowers is number one. He's gonna eat big time. It's going to be disastrous for all tight ends trying to compete with them. 153 targets his rookie year. Repeat of that seems like it's due. So bring it on, man. It's Brock Bowers. What are you going to say? What are you going to say?
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, there you have it. There is our tight ends wrapped up for this exercise we're doing. So next week we will actually be doing the running backs. So bear with us while we figure that out, and hope you join us next week when we talk about the NFC running back rooms. Uh, but until then, we've been Rough Draft Research. You've been the audience, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, Brock Bowers number one, the only Brock that matters.
Jeez.